Today we're going to be installing a new lead flashing on a sanitary stack pipe. A lot of times, these are what are called no-cocks. A lot of times these will rot away and you'll get water down in beside the pipe. On this one, it was just installed improperly, completely down to the sheeting. So anytime water gets underneath any of these shingles, it's going to get under, start leaking inside your house. Somebody tried to caulk it at some point because they knew it was leaking. So we're going to take it out and give you kind of the step-by-step on how to do it. First, you want to just start working the little tabs of your shingles up. The main goal is to keep your flat bar as flat as possible to the roof, because if you turn it up like this, it'll gouge the shingle. So keep your bar flat. Start slowly pushing through. Now once you get a few up, these have staples, but you should be able to pop your staples out or your nails out through the back side of it. So once you get it loose, put the bottom in, pop the staple out, and you do that all the way around and all the way up until you can get this part off. Here's another thing that they did wrong. They shot a staple right next to this flashing, so that's going through it. Anytime water's going to come down here, it's just going to hit the top of this staple and go right down inside of it. They also ended this on a seam. You want to keep your seams at least offset. It's going vertical. Cut your lengths. I added this little guy on here for a little bit of extra strength. When you lay your new stuff in, you want to make sure you got adequate gaps on both sides. I didn't cut it wrong. You want to leave that gap so that air can breathe around the roof. Because if your wood can't breathe, expand and contract, you're just going to have rotten sheeting again. Once we cut our felt in place here, the biggest deal with any asphalt or pretty much any roofing system is you start from the bottom and you go up, because water comes from the top and goes down. So whenever you're patching in tar paper, you're patching in shingles, you want to start from the bottom up and then get your tar paper up underneath anything above that, because if water gets in, it's going to go over the top and not be able to go under. So what I'm doing is going underneath this felt so that I can ensure that water is going to flow over the top. If your water can't flow over the top, where's it going to go? Anytime you're using old shingles, this seal strip here is going to be torn off. So anytime you put a new shingle over, like here, I caulk this because I know this seal strip is going to be junk. So I want to re-caulk it so it has a seal. Biggest thing on 3-tab shingles when you're nailing them back in is you want to stay away from the cuts. You're going to stay in a little bit. Stay away from the cuts. Different shingles are different dimensions sometimes, so you want to make sure and line up with your old fade lines. And you will never be able to match a shingle that is about 10 years old, because shingle manufacturers change their shingle colors about every 3 or 4 years. Plus the sun fade, it's going to take a while. So, just a heads up, if you're wondering why shingles look different. There. caulking coat again here. Ready? Alright, anytime you are putting new shingles back over where old shingles were, in this case you'll have staple holes, little tiny pinholes. What I like to do, it's not required, but what I like to do is you fill those with a little bit of caulking. Just a little more insurance. Well, they break, and why they suck so bad is you want to have the least amount of penetrations through your roof. So when you have a staple, you got two going through, and a lot of times, if you look at the gauge and the width of the staple, it's a lot smaller. So when that wood expands and contracts, these are going to start to work themselves out. Rather, where this is wider, it's going to hold itself in there longer. Different shingles a lot of times have different dimensions. So these shingles themselves would fit together, but when you match them up with the old shingles, it's going to be a little bit long. So we're going to have to trim this edge to get a uniform look. Then these are the fun ones. Get her started. Lay your shingle back down. Again, I'm going to caulk this edge and all these other loose edges. A little trick you can use, but I don't recommend it if you've never done shingling before. You can stand it up like this and just will gently tap. And then your nail's set and you can keep driving. Biggest reason why we use lead flashings instead of no caulks is because it will conform to the roof the way we need it to, and it will also last way longer than a rubber boot around here. And once we get this laid down, caulk all these edges, lay it back down, nail our edges on our top, caulk all of our seams, and we can keep going with our shingles. And this is just like the roof vent video. If you've seen the roof vent video, it's the exact same thing when you have an opening like this. It's just you got a pipe instead of a box vent. Again, gasket underneath. Laying it up all the way flat. Perfect pressure fit. Now we won't have any water going to get inside the pipe. If it goes in, that's pretty normal. And we don't have anything coming on the outside. Another advantage of leads. These are what they used way back in the 1900s, and they're still on a lot of houses. They're still lasted that long. And whenever you're cutting on a roof, it's good to leave an old shingle and cut on the shingle so you don't mar up the old shingles. Just like the box vents, if you've seen our other videos. Again, do the same thing on the top edge. It's also very important to get the right kind of caulking. This is a geocell tripolymer blend sealant, and the difference with that is a lot of other caulkings, if you just get a regular siding caulking or something like that, is it will actually eat into the rubberization or asphalt of the shingle, and that will discolor and deteriorate your shingle. So using proper caulking is key Again, if you're doing any repair work on your roof, you're gonna have to pull nails out of stuff that's higher up. So put your nails back in and always caulk your edges. So that way, if there ever is a wind, your shingles will actually be sealed down, not just laying there. Here in Nebraska, we get some pretty crazy winds. And this is just a little simple insurance to know that your shingles aren't gonna blow off.